Welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, with our weekly conversation with the guru, Coach Van PETTAWAY. Coach, how you doing today, sir?
I'm blessed and I'm highly favored, and I'm just looking forward to another good week of SWAC football.
Yes, sir. Indeed. You did outdo me on the picks this week. However, my Panthers won a thriller, not in Manila, but on the reservation.
Yes.
And, man, I'll be okay with taking the L for the overall week, as long as we got that win.
Yep. That was a great one. And that might be, so far, the most exciting finish in the SWAC this year. Yep.
Yes, sir. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. So I guess we'll start our grading, sir, and then look up to this week's matchups. And I guess they say, let the session begin.
Okay. Well, first up, Mississippi Valley ventured up to Indianapolis to take on North Carolina Central. North Carolina Central won that game 45-3. I'm going to give Valley a C minus on this one.
Remember a couple of weeks ago I asked, could we give a C?
Yeah.
I'm giving a D minus, Coach. I said we're going to give them an F, but they're getting to the point now where I might have to start considering some Fs.
Yeah, that is true. They're struggling right now, and then just to listen to Coach yesterday, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to turn it around.
Right. Well, sometimes, Coach, when we get into situations and it is what it is, right? And we know what budgets are, and I think part of a unique situation like Valley is you can't operate the way others operate. You're going to have to be creative, out-of-the-box thinking, and do some things that would somewhat shake the core of things that you've accustomed to been doing to try something with a different angle and approach.
Yeah, that is true. Well, next up, we're going to go down to Grambling, Louisiana, where Grambling played host to Texas Southern. Grambling won that game 35-23. I'm going to give Grambling an A in that game, and I'm going to give Texas Southern, I'm going to give them a B minus because, they're doing great things even without their number one quarterback.
Right. I'm almost in agreement with you. I'm giving Grambling an A because the offense has seemed to come alive this season under Hugh Jackson. He finally seemed like he has the answer to a quarterbacking. And I'm going to give Texas Southern a C because of the fact they play without body. But there's still some blown opportunities that the Texas Southern Tigers are not executing on. And unfortunately, I think we're beyond the hot seat for Coach McKinney.
Mm-hmm.
It is getting restless 45 miles east of me, sir, from the natives in Houston.
Okay. Well, then we're going to go down to Tallahassee, Florida, where Florida A&M played host to Alabama State. Florida A&M pulled away late and won that game 23-10. I'm going to give the Rattlers an A for this, and then Alabama State, I'm going to give them a C because I just thought they faded down the stretch. Too many mistakes, and they came up on the short end of the stick.
Well, we're going to be slightly different again. Of course, Alabama State, I'm giving a B+ because it was such a tight game. And I think just the will and the destiny of the Rattlers this year, which I'm giving an A, they just wore them down.
Right.
Those were mistakes. I think they kind of, and when I say they, the Rattlers, they created those mistakes. And for that's why I'm grading the way I am.
Okay. And then on to Jackson, Mississippi, where Jackson State played host to Bethune-Cookman. Jackson State won that game 22-16. I'm going to give the Jackson State an A for that game. And believe it or not, I'm going to give Bethune-Cookman a B- because I thought they played hard, and they showed me a lot of toughness in this game.
Yes, sir. We're in the same spectrum yet again. I gave them a B+, they being the Wildcats, because of the nature of that game, a much improved performance. And I gave Jackson State an A. Jackson State stock is rising just a little bit in my land of the fields, Coach, and so far so good.
Right. All right, and then Now it's on to our alma maters. Alabama A&M on Thursday played host to Arkansas Pine Bluff. A&M, the Bulldogs won that game 31-24. I'm going to give my Bulldogs an A for winning the game, and I'm going to give Pine Bluff a B because that game was one play away from being a different ball game.
No doubt. In fact, Coach, I said on the show last week, it was the best game on Thursday night, period. You had the NFL and you had another MAC game that was being played, and by far that game was the more competitive and entertaining. And I'm giving A&M an A, and I'm giving Pine Bluff a B as well. I thought the game was very, very competitive, and even though I picked Pine Bluff, they still winning in the press conference. That's
right.
all.
Yep. Absolutely. And last but not least, the game of the weekend. Alcorn State playing host to your Prairie View Panthers. Your Panthers won that game 23-20 with a field goal with time expiring. I'm giving your Panthers an A, and Alcorn State, I'm going to give them a C in this contest.
I'm giving the Panthers an A-, and here's why. 11 penalties, Coach. 3 of them personal fouls, which made the game a little bit edgy, especially toward the end for that 46-yard field goal attempt. He had 2 false starts, which pushed them back 10 yards. And I was like, this was too close for comfort. But I will take the win, sir. I will take the win. And I'm giving Alcorn a B+ because it was a game. But there was a bit of frustration with Coach McNair at the end of the game. And it seemed a little bit out of character from what I'm accustomed to hearing Coach McNair at. And I don't know if there's some trouble brewing up on the reservation or what, Coach, but I'm going to be paying close attention to that.
Right. I think you might be right. I think there's a little bit of rumbling down on the reservation because it's, all of our fans of what have you done for me lately. That's the mentality that everybody's taking. Yep. And so that leads us up until another week of SWAC football, and we're going to start it out with in Houston, where Texas Southern is playing host to Lincoln out of California. I'm going with Texas Southern in this game. I don't see them losing at home, so I'm going with TSU.
Well, if Texas Southern loses this game, Coach, they might as well shut it down for the entire season. I think there would be a straight-up mutiny on the campus of Texas Southern. I'm projecting that not only will Texas Southern win, but they'll win huge, regardless who's quarterback. I got you.
And next up, Southern goes down to Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm going to take Southern in this game. I think Pine Bluff is coming, but they're not there yet.
Yes, sir, and I'm feeling the same way. Look, for selfish reasons, I would love to see Pine Bluff pull it off, but I don't think they're just quite there yet, so I'm going to roll with Coach Dooley and the Jags.
Okay. And then we go down to Montgomery, Alabama, where Alabama State will host Alcorn State. This is going to be a big, tough matchup, and I'm going to go with Alabama State on this one.
Ooh, Coach, we have to split hairs somewhere, don't we?
Yep.
And I do love the fact that Alabama State is playing a much better brand of ball. And with the disappointing loss that Alcorn has come off of and the added emotion that I heard from Coach in this past weekend's postgame, I think the Braves are going to rebound. I think it's going to be a close one, but they're going to rebound.
All righty. And then next up, Florida A&M, Tallahassee, from the Rattlers from Tallahassee, Florida, going to make the long trip down to Itta Bena to play Mississippi Valley. I don't care how far they have to go. Florida A&M is going to win this football game.
Driver, keep the bus running. We're going to take care of some business here. And I'm not trying to, make fun of Valley, but what else can you do at this point, Coach? It's a bad situation. And I don't know about you. You talked about it a little bit earlier. And I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth, but I can only go by what I'm hearing and feeling. It's almost like the coach say, what in the heck did I sign up to?
Yep.
So this is going to be FAMU by mudslide.
Oh, yes. And then that leads us up to our alma maters. We take on Tuskegee for homecoming. There's only one way to go in this game for me, and that's the Bulldogs winning this one.
Yes, sir. I'm going to be in agreement, but, man, Tuskegee and A&M, they play such thrilling games each time they get together. But I'm going to roll with the home team, man, and the motivated fact that it is homecoming. And, look, you all ought to be really celebrating all this money y'all just found of recent, huh?
Yeah, well, no, not that they found. They just, I think that's all across America where they're finding out that the schools have been so underfunded, and with us being a land-grant institution, they found out that, we've been missing the boat for a while. And then they're talking about upwards to $500 million that our university has been underfunded. So if we can just get a small portion of that, I think they'll be okay.
Right. Well, here's the thing. When money comes, especially an abundant amount of money becomes available, people's somewhat true identities pop up. And I hope A&M and your beloved Bulldogs don't get beside themselves. If they were to bless them with all of them, you say they're not found money, but I'm going to call it found money, that they say, okay, it's time for us to jump to the FBS level. Stay there, man, and maximize that stuff, man, and work it out like it could never be done before. And is it by coincidence? But it seemed like with Coach, I call him Coach, but Paul Bryant, some magical things have been happening in Bulldog Nation, huh?
Yep. He's, I'm going to be honest, he's done a fantastic job since he's been there. But I think the jury's still out. Now, our governor has to come up with a plan, and they're not going to give the school all that money. And I think they'll just come up with something where they'll give us a few extra dollars every year now that this has become public, because I think we've been here before where they found out that we were being underfunded and we still didn't get the money. So I'm a little optimistic. Yeah.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I'm gonna keep the light on for you. You stay optimistic because you're there in the thick of it. But I'm doing wishful thinking because I'm going like, if he got some coming, that means money coming to our way soon.
Right. To all the land grant institutions. Yep. So
yes,
everybody's going to be listening to see what happens in our case. Now, our last game, we're going out to Dallas, Texas. For the big one. Your Prairie Panthers in Grambling State.
Yes,
this is a big one. But I'm going to be honest. I really like what's happening out at PV. I'm going with your Panthers.
Coach, what did you say about your Tuskegee game? There is absolutely no other way to go but the way of Prairie View A&M University. And look here, and I'm going to do a confession. During your A&M game on Thursday night, we simulcast that game, right?
Oh, okay.
And even though I admitted for a moment, and you didn't hear it, so it really didn't happen, just he say, she say right about now. But I did open up and say that you all were the original heel. Okay, because of only by 1 year.
Thank you.
Well, look, it's not going to take my look. We're the best heel. You might be the original heel, but we're the best heel. So, I do want to acknowledge that. But on the heel, they're fired up and excited. Look, I was fussing about lack of attendance, but I guarantee that won't be a problem on this week. They will be there in droves. There's people already headed up that way to just make a big old weekend out of it. So it should be a good game, but I do know Grambling's going to bring their hard hats, and it's going to be probably a more high-scoring game than imagined, but I believe the Panthers are going to come out on top, sir.
Right. I certainly agree with you. I think it's going to be a great contest, and both coaches talked about the tradition that's been there over the years for the State Fair Classic, and I'm looking forward to it. I just think it's going to be a great exhibition of SWAC football, and we will find out next week who's going to come out on top. And now, to pick a game in the MEAC, I think this week we got North Carolina A&T going to Norfolk State. How do you see that?
Well, we were both wrong with Norfolk State and Townsend, and
yep.
I was shocked. But I ain't going to be wrong twice. And as they would say, I think A&T is just going to be too much for Norfolk, man.
Okay. Well, look, this will help us break the tie. I'm gonna go with Coach Odom. I think they may have since they're playing at home. I think he's gonna have them ready to play. So that's a true tie break right there. Yep.
Yes, sir. It will be. It will be. And I'm hoping you're right, because I tell you, I like Odom, man. I thought that they got a little impatient with him at Southern. Mm-hmm. And when we had an opening, I was saying, man, let us consider Odom. But he had already got locked into that long year or that long deal at Norfolk. But we'll see how it comes out. We'll see how it comes out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, well, look, I know that we had some common thread, and we don't normally talk about this, but I know you got, I almost want to say you're full brother, but you kind of half brother, because you do like them Chicago Bears, but you also like the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, I do. Yeah, because Star Wars, I have to. You know, that I go back to the days of the steel curtain with Pittsburgh.
Yes, sir. And that's the half I love about you. Mm-hmm. You know, but that Chicago half, man.
Oh,
there's Coach, why do we keep putting ourselves in these positions, man? You look at Chicago, you look at Michigan State. Don't you know that there's a mark on your back?
Oh yes. And the Mel Tucker situation is just so tough that I'm like Mel. I want all the cards to be put on the table to really see how this was, because if he has his evidence like he claims, where they got over 27 phone calls between the two of them, and each one of them is over 30 minutes, that is a relationship, in my opinion now. That is some kind of consensual relationship. So we just have to see.
Well, we shall see, sir. But meanwhile, I am going to stay, as they say, embedded in the SWAC.
Yep.
And I'm going to let the other folks do and say what they do and say, because they don't talk about us until something tragic happens.
Correct.
Or we have a sighting of someone in the name of Dion, and we sure ain't gonna talk about what happened with Colorado this week. But we're gonna keep it focused and ground on the Southwestern Athletic Conference, sir.
Oh yeah.
And with that being said, I want to give you some closing thoughts and comments for this week.
Okay. Well, Dr. Prince, I look forward to another great weekend of football. I think the SWAC has shown the nation that we are the best FCS conference out there in terms of attendance and notoriety. And I just hope our institutions continue to let the light shine, because we do have a bright light that needs to be shown to the nation. And I want to thank you I want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing.
Well, we thank you very much, sir, and we're going to keep doing our part to lift up our beloved conference and to keep the news flowing. Sometimes you don't want to hear what needs to be said, and we are going to do both parts. Tell you what you don't want to hear and tell you what you need to hear. And that's a promise, and as they would say, a guarantee. And with that being said, he is the guru, Coach Van Pettaway. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Don't forget, we'll be live from Dallas, Texas for the Cotton Bowl between the Grambling State Tigers and the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. So until the next time, you guys be blessed and we'll see you on the other side.